Hello everybody. Today we're going to be talking about ease of access, and basically what that talks about is just making the computer easier for you to work on and look at. And if you have any issues with eye strain, or you have shaky hands or whatever, these are the kinds of things you want to change so that it's easier to use your computer. So those are under ease of access as well as under the display settings. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. And we're going to first go over to where the Start menu is, and that's down in this corner where the Windows icon is. We're going to click on here, and we're going to come up to Settings, and we're going to click on Settings. It's going to open up our Settings menu. Ooh, there we go. Okay, and while that's there, I just want to make sure that I've got my correct window open here. And what we should be looking at right now is we're looking at the Start, or the Settings menu. We've got lots of choices, but we're going to choose Ease of Access. And if we look here, we're in Settings, we're at Ease of Access. If we want to go back, we can hit the arrow button, but we're not going to because this is where we want to be. And we're going to take a look at the narrator. The narrator is something that you can turn on and it'll read the screen. And currently we're on David desktop, which is the United States male version of the voice. We can turn up his speed. If you'd like to have him to read to you faster, we can turn up or down his pitch if you'd like that. Now, some people can't hear certain pitches, and sometimes people need things to be read to them much slower. So that's why they've incorporated speed. He can read hints for controls and buttons. He can read to you the characters as you type. He can read to you the words as you type. He can lower the volume of other apps when he's running, and then he can play audio cues. Then also he can, the cursor and keys, this is a different setting. It's not necessarily a narrator thing, but it'll highlight the cursor, have the insertion point follow the narrator. That says he's reading, that you can follow him with the cursor. It'll be highlighted, and as he goes through words, it'll highlight the word. Okay, and then activate keys on the touch keyboard when I lift my finger off the keyboard. That's for people who have tablets and can touch the screen and there's a keyboard on it. So on your smartphones you have this. Right now he's highlighting what the last thing was I touched. You can also change that to a female voice. But I'm going to turn the narrator off for now because we're not going to be using the narrator. So this is for those of you who would like your screen read to you and to make things easier in that regard. The next thing we're going to be looking at over in the left-hand corner is the magnifier. The magnifier you can turn on and you can zoom into your screen 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. Oh my goodness. And notice it's much more pixelated as we go. Now this little spyglass is my magnifier tools. So as I'm zooming around the screen, it's helpful for this to stay here because otherwise I'm going to be stuck with whatever I choose. And I can just hit this minus key until I get back to normal. I'm going to close that. It's going to turn off my magnifier. But if I have my magnifier on, another thing that we get is to invert the colors. That will invert the colors on the screen. It allows people who have poor vision or difficulty seeing things very bright. Most things on the screen will be white or light, and then it'll invert the colors and make them darker. Or maybe they just need things kind of in those colors. Not quite sure. So that'll invert the colors, make it easier for some people to see. Then you can have it start the magnifier automatically. As you start the magnifier, do you want it to follow the keyboard focus? That means like as you're typing, it's following your words. Or do you want it to follow your mouse cursor? That means wherever your mouse moves, not just in the corners as you're moving around the mouse into the corners of the screen, but actually follow your mouse as it's moving, maybe even in a circle. So if I turn this on, it should display that. Yep, so right now it's going into the corners. I guess it's automatically on there. Okay, now we're going to close this and turn off my magnifier, and then we're going to go into high contrast. High contrast is one of those things where, once again, if you have a difficulty reading the screen, this will change the look of it. The background will be black, the button text will be either white or black, and it just makes things extra bold, especially for people who have maybe they're colorblind, or they're having some issues with their eyes with cataracts, making the screen extra bold really can help those people navigate the screen. Here we've got a number 2 in high contrast black, and high contrast white. And then we're going to go back to none. None's kind of hard to see, so if you are stuck in one of these settings and you don't want it, you do have to click on this little area and then bring it back all the way to the top to say none. Closed captions. The closed captions for here are only for Windows Media Player videos, not for YouTube or any place you go online where you're watching videos. YouTube has its own closed captioning system, and so you'll have to click on the little toggle, the little settings menu on there and on the video to kind of say, yes, I want closed captioning, or no, I don't. So that won't help you with this, but here you can change how it looks. Like, for example, if you put it back to default and then you say, well, the default here is that it'll put up words, but it won't make it very visible, and so that's why they give you options. You can change how it looks in the background, make it opaque, change how the words are. Maybe you don't like the casual, maybe you want it to be this more typed screen. So that's for that. And then as I scroll down, you can just restore it to the default if you just like. This is the actual default of this. Okay, next we have the keyboard. Okay, this turns on the on-screen keyboard. Basically, it just pops up just like that, and then you can use an on-screen keyboard. Very helpful if, like, for example, you want to have something like that in case all you have is a mouse or you're on a tablet. Sticky keys. This is for keyboard shortcuts. It allows you to make your own shortcuts in a way, or to yeah, you can turn on sticky keys, so you can create, you can like just hit one key to have those shortcuts. I don't use sticky keys very often, but it's just an option. Toggle keys, that's if you hit the caps lock, it'll play a tone. This is very helpful for people that, maybe they're kind of a messy typist and they accidentally turn on, like, say, the caps lock. They didn't mean to, and so then it becomes something where they can say, oh, I hit something. They'll hear that audible alert and they'll say, oh, I hit something. Then they'll know they hit the caps lock. This is very, very helpful, especially if you're someone who, you can't see what you're typing because it's a password, and you don't know that you've accidentally hit the caps lock or the number lock or the scroll lock. Okay. Next, we have the filter keys. This is to help people who have, maybe a little shakiness in how they type. They tend to hit the keys a number of times, not meaning to. So if you turn on your filter keys, it'll kind of say, oh, okay, you didn't really mean to hit that many times. I'm just going to put it once. Okay, so as you can see, ignore and slow down the brief or repeated keystrokes and adjust keyboard repeat rates. So that kind of helps you with that. Enable shortcut underlines. So this kind of boggled me for a second, but it's actually an old thing that helps you find out where you are in your shortcuts. So if you turn this on, basically what it's going to do is it's going to underline in the menu the shortcut. So here's the shortcut Control H, but it's got R. Here's one that's A, and it's got Control A underlined. So that's supposed to kind of help you navigate your shortcuts. Then we have, let's see. Yes, if you turn on a setting on with a shortcut, it'll alert you if you want that, or make a sound when turning a setting on or off with a shortcut. Pretty useful. Okay, next we have the pointer size. Right now my pointer size is set to the smallest, but I could change it to being this big, and then the largest it can go. I can change my pointer color from being white to black, and then to being one that will kind of do like an inverted color as I scroll over the screen. Now even my hourglass is dark. Next thing is your mouse keys. You can use your numeric pad to move the mouse and cursor around the screen. This is if you don't want to mess with the mouse at all. I think it's fast, but some people, don't want it. or if for whatever reason you lost your mouse. Okay, so you can hold down the control key once you turn this on to control the speed and shift it to slow. And then use the mouse keys when number lock is on. Yes, you can do that as well by clicking on here, and then it turns this stuff on. See, now this is how slow it runs. If and I'm using the number keypad to move the mouse at this moment. It is very slow. So if I turn on this and I hit the 6 on my number control keypad and then hit control, it speeds it up quite a bit, makes it a lot easier to move it around. So it can make it very, very useful. I'm going to stick with the mouse. Works well for me. Okay, next we have the visual options, which is play animations in Windows. I'm okay with the animations. Basically, it can speed up your computer by turning these off. But for some people, they just don't like the animations. Basically, it's like when you're opening things up or whatever, you know, sometimes it'll fade in, and sometimes it'll do like a little, you know, whirligig, or even that hourglass that shows up when the computer is busy. That's considered an animation. And so to turn that off, it can speed up your computer, but then you kind of don't know what's going on. Like, why am I waiting this long? There's no hourglass to tell me what's happening. So I'm going to leave it on. And then let's see, show your notifications. So every once in a while, you have a notification that'll pop up on the right side of the screen, and it'll tell you things like you've updated your virus software, you've updated Windows, you've done this. And so here you can change that from just being a quick blip on your screen to being 7 seconds, 15 seconds, right? All the way up to 5 minutes that it just sits there. Okay, next, also, this is a visual thing. If you want to turn up your cursor's thickness, so then I'll show it to you up in here in the search bar. That's a pretty thick cursor. You don't have to have it that thick. Here's it is a little bit smaller, right? And here it is at the normal. But for some people, that's really difficult to see. So making it thicker helps them know, oh, that's where the cursor is. It's flashing, and I can see that big black spot. Okay, visual notifications for sound. Okay, so basically this helps you know, some people are hearing impaired. So when there's a notification, instead of, or you hit like maybe a key or something you weren't supposed to, and it's doing something and it wants to give you a notification, rather than it making sound like beep, like that, it's going to flash the entire screen or the title bar of the program that you're in, or it can, flash your active window, flash your entire display. Right now, we're not going to do that. So that's ease of access. Now, let's say you're like, that's great, Amy, but I need to be able to see, and I'm having a hard time seeing. Okay, then let's take a look at that real quickly. We're going to go into System, so we're in Settings, System, and then Display. And we're going to come down here where it says, it's real light and faint, sometimes you can't see it, but it's Advanced Display Settings. And we're going to scroll down, and we're going to look here at not color calibration, but clear type text. And what clear type text is it helps you go through and figure out what's going to work best for you as far as being able to see. And some people sit pretty far away from their monitor, some people sit closer, and some of us, as we're, getting older and our eyes are adjusting, we kind of need things to be a little more bold. So we're going to turn on clear type text, and we're just going to go through a quick menu. It's making sure that the monitor is set to the right resolution. And then we're going to pick which one of these we think we can read better. This one or this one. Let's stay with that one. Let's look at these and just say, I think I see this one better. Or do I see this one better? Let's go for that one. It's bolder. And I have these three. Seems like a horse apiece. I'm going to go for that one. Then I'm going to pick the one out of here. Oh, I like that one. That one's good. And that one's even bolder. I'm going to go for that. Now I'm finished. Your settings will change. Oh, to that. Now, because I'm on a different computer and not my own at home, it's, I have to get administrative, a permission. But for you at home, it'll work just fine. Okay, now I'm not going to suggest that you go into the advanced sizing of text and other items because you can mess up your monitor that way. So we're just going to go back to settings. And something I didn't show you, I just went to the advanced display settings, but you can actually, right now we're at 100% of the text, size, but we can actually bring this up to 125. Woo! And then also 150. So I'm really zoomed in now, and that makes it so easy to see. I'm going to take it back to 100. Okay, and that is under display and right away right here. So settings, system, and then display, you can get into this setting. Well, I hope that helps you guys, and I hope that you guys come to class. We're going to be having class on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so check your schedules and your newsletters, and we'll be sure to see you then. Thanks.